Chapter 27, Riverside Meetings Determining the Way Forward. Because I am not sure where the place is. The priest told me about it in a hurry. I only remembered a few points. Yan Mo said. His look did not look like a man with fear, and that earned him the respect of the third-tier warrior Yuan Lai, and the tone of his speech was normal. Da Bing came back to reality, and the attitude of the little slave made him feel a bit strange. He felt that this little slave was really courageous, and it also made him doubt the identity of the young boy. Why did the Salt Mountain priest tell you about the new salt land? Yan Mo responded to this. This matter is just a trivia matter, and with right kind facial expression it brought out the appropriate sadness and sorrow. Because the Ji people attacked our tribe, the priest disciples were killed. At that time, there was only me. He was going to give morale to the other warriors, so in haste he could only tell me some things before leaving. Let me convey to the other tribe members, but I was bitten by the beast on the road, and with a fleeing tribe I could only be left behind, and the tribe and me were separated from my tribe members, and finally rescued by T.A.G. Yuan Zhan, who was picking up the leather armor and letting Cao Ting helping wear it, raised his eyebrows. Isn't that right? Yan Mo was stabbed by the slave's mark on his shoulder, but he was completely unwilling in becoming a slave. He believed that Yuan Zhan and Dalai probably did not dare to treat him as a slave after knowing that he was a priest disciple of the Salt Mountain priest. I don't care what the odd soul is tied to my body. He stared at the boy. So is it your idea to go south? Yes. Yan Mo nodded. There is salt in the south. It's possible. Yan Mo slammed and refused to give a positive answer. Da Bing no longer looked at the boy, but instead looked at Yuan Lai. We should immediately return to the tribe and tell the chief and the priest about this. And then? Dalai asked. And then? Da Bing couldn't put what to say next. Dalai followed his words and said, the chief and the priest will send people and the child to find new salt fields, but because we first said this, the chief will have great hope for our task if we return, and if you don't get to go in the next task or you can't find it, you can imagine how disappointing they will be. If so, why don't we find salt ground first and give them a surprise? Bing was silent. He admits that what Lai said is justified. This matter, regardless of whether or not he and the chief can discuss it, the final result is the same. The priest definitely want people to go out to find salt, and the chief will definitely let him go out to calm down Xi Rang clan and Faisha clan. The injustice of the tribe matters. Bing was about to ask Yan Mo about the new salt field. When he looked up, his eyes widened like the eagle's eyes. What is going on with Zhan and Shan wear? It's not a simple leather skirt that is common to warriors, nor is it a winter warrior's cloak for the rain, food, or resistance to the enemy. The cloak was made by taking a large animal skin and digging a hole in the middle. When you want to put it on, just put the hole on your neck. The animal skin can hang down to block the front chest and back, and then take the grass rope to tie on the waist. And the cold wind is not reaching you in way. It seems that this is what Zhan and other people wore on the upper body at this time, but they are completely different. Look closely. The original animals on the left and right shoulders are thickened by small pieces of animal skin. The method of thickening is also simple, that is, drilling around the small pieces of animal skin, tying it with leather rope and the animal skin below. In addition to the shoulders, the front and back of the animals draped are also added with layers of the same size of the animal skin. The animal skin layer is tight, looked very thick. This thick multi-layered hide that specifically protects the vital parts of the front and back of the chest looked like a thick tortoiseshell. Perhaps this should be called a beast leather? Battle armor? 1. Haha Bichyo Don AV1. In order to prevent the animal skin from separating before and after, the extra leather rope was placed under the ribs on both sides of the leather armor, and it can be fastened to each other like a large belt, so that the animal skin can be wrapped tightly to the body. The extra part of the animal is naturally draped to the waist. This part of the animal skin is not thickened, presumably to make the waist flexible. Below the waist there is a leather skirt, and then the lower leg is also wrapped in animal skin, the same as on the wrist. One think like knee pads and armbands worn by the Roman warriors. The skin on the thigh was wrapped from the top of the ankle to the underside of the knee, and the skin on the wrist extends from the wrist to the elbow. Regardless of the thigh or the animal skin on the wrist, the middle section is specially thickened. Such a rough but thick enough animal skin armor not only protects most of the warrior's key points, but also perfectly outlines and sets off the tall and majestic stalwart body of the warriors. Why didn't everyone think of this? After Bing was shocked, his face immediately became complicated. Wearing such a set of animal skin, Zhan, Shan, Diao, and Meng, the four people, suddenly looked strange to him. They just changed the usual animal skin to another shape and put it on the body. Why does it seem that there is such a big change? They looked more sophisticated, chilling, majestic, wild and full of a charm that is unique to males. What is even more terrifying is that they give off the warrior momentum, as if they can be invincible. A familiar companion seems to be more powerful than ever. Impossible. This is an illusion. Bing clenched his fists. He couldn't be suppressed by their momentum. He is a third-tier warrior. How can he show weakness to these second-tier warriors? Yuan Lai has been paying attention to the expression on Bing's face. When he saw that he was shocked, then confused, and then envious, and finally became lost and dissatisfied, he threw a look at Yuan Zhan. Yuan Zhan silently pulled out a set of tied leather armor from his own package and threw it to Bing. A lost glimpse, and Bing was almost hit by a large bundle thrown at him. Yuan Lai said, "This is for you, immediately put it on." Diao over there also turned out a set and gave it to Missing Teeth. The half-empty mouth looked like a black hole that is happy with the teeth is not concealed, happy to open his mouth and smile, still repeatedly said with a distinctive leaking sound, "I also have a share? Is it really for me?" Yuan Diao used his right fist to smack his chest. "Brother!" Missing Teeth immediately used his right hand fist and to smack his left chest, heavy and authentic, thanking him, "Brother." Da Bing was holding the big bundle, bowed his head. He did not speak, went to the side to start getting dressed. His slave immediately ran to him and helped him to wear it. Yuan Zhan didn't feel the gratitude from Bing and didn't feel too much, just as they had prepared a leather armor for both Bing and Missing Teeth. He and Bing are enemies in the tribe, but when they leave the village they become the brother of the same tribe. At this point, any warrior of Yuan tribe cannot violate the brotherhood. Yan Mo was surprised by these primitive men. "What about shoes? Why don't you wear shoes one by one?" Of course, it may not be called a shoe, it can only be called a skin bundling. But with or without the shape of the shoe, they can wrap their feet with a piece of animal skin, which will reduce a lot of danger and injury. In the past, when he went to mountains to collect medicines, shoes and trousers were the most valued things. All of them should be tightly packed. There should be no gaps. Because there are many snakes and poisonous insects in the mountains, it is a bad thing to be bitten or bitten. But the last time he saw these warriors came back with bare feet, this time he even made a wrapper for them and they did not wear them, and they all told him to wear them is breaking the law. Why? Is it that their soles and feet are extra thick, so they are not afraid of wear and tear and are not afraid of biting and scratching? In order to find out the reason, Yan Mo personally pulled out the wrapper from the parcel and shook his Duren head. Yuan Zhan glanced at the animal skin in disgust. "Don't use it, your feet will rot." "What? Ah!" Yan Mo quickly realized that he understood what was going on. He has seen many such cases before, but it was athlete's foot, but the seemingly insignificant diseases is particularly tormenting people. Mostly because the shoes are not breathable, or the feet are in contact with moisture for a long time, they will be infected with athlete's foot. Looking at the expression on Yuan Zhan, Yuan tribe people probably used to wrap their feet in the past, but because of the improper skin handling of the animal skin, or not paying attention to various reasons such as hygiene and ventilation, it caused serious diseases on the feet. Commonly known as athlete's foot. In the absence of symptomatic treatment, the foot will only become more and more rotten and finally the foot lice will not only be in pain but also itchy, and severely rot. The disease athlete's foot is one of the most common human recurring diseases in the world he came to. No matter how many years ago, thousands of years ago, many people were tortured by this disease. Yan Mo had a whimsy. Could it be because of this that Yuan tribes intentionally or unintentionally ignored the further use of the hides as shoes? Hey! The heavy animal skin suit hit him. Yuan Zhan ordered him, put that on, hurry, don't waste time. Yan Mo didn't resist. He put a coat of animal skin that was twisted with 2 large pieces of animal skin on his body. Everyone dressed up. Meng and Diao characters were more lively to be wearing a new type of animal skin armor. They went walking in front of their own slaves to show off. Yuan Zhan stretched out his thick thigh in front of Yan Mo. Yan Mo! What do you mean by this, you bastard? Yuan Zhan, who showed off his body to his own slave and was more majestic than other warriors, he went aside and talked to Lai. Bing refused to be excluded and went over. The slaves quickly piled up the remaining baggage, and Cao Ting finished hers home and helped Yan Mo. There are ready-made backpacks. These backpacks are very good. Many things can be loaded into the backpack. The volume is too large and it's not heavy, and things such as wooden scoop could be hanged on the belt. Speaking of backpacks, there is another episode that has to be said. At the beginning, Yan Mo wanted Cao Ting to help suture 2 kinds of backpacks, a hatched back and a waist bag. When he thought about it, it should be very simple. But after the actual operation, it was found to be difficult. Not only is the technology difficult, there wasn't much material, and the main thing is that time is not enough to make one each for one them. After repeated discussions with Cao Ting, he overthrew all the original ideas and re-established a more feasible backpack style and production method together with Cao Ting. A backpack with a shoulder strap. It is made as follows. First, make 2 straps for the shoulders. In this regard, they used 2 long tough skins to make them. Before doing this, first fold a long animal skin into several weights, fold it into about half a palm width, and then stitch the needle back and forth on the folded animal skin to seam the folded long animal skin, which can greatly increase the toughness of the shoulder strap and the degree of solidity. Second, make the backpack body. This requires a relatively large animal skin, which is first cut into a regular square, and then drilled at the edge where the stitching is usually required. The hole is small and slightly dense. Then use the small hole as a buttonhole and use the needle thread to fully lock the edge, so that the perforated part is not easily damaged by the leather rope due to the weight. Then, the leather straps on each side are combined, tied with a leather cord, and then stitched back and forth several times with a needle thread. A cylindrical body was ready. Next, connect the backpack to the strap. Because the suture material and technology are not enough, Yan Mo considered it repeatedly. He opened a gap in the parallel position of the bottom end and the upper end of the bag, inserting the strap from the bag, and then tying the strap at both ends. Suture, while also stitching the strap and the body through the inside of the backpack. As a result, the risk of separation or cracking between the backpack and the harness due to excessive weight can be minimized in the current limited conditions. The final closing and the cover are relatively simple. Just close the hole in the uppermost section and use a leather cord to tighten it. The rainproof lid is only required to directly sew a piece of animal skin on top the bag. The good backpack is about the size of a rice bucket that can hold 10 kilograms of rice. It can carry about 15 kilograms. It is not a problem to pack 30 pieces of Duren-sized fat meat, but the backpack will become full. Don't look at the production method of this backpack, but there are more places to use the needle thread. It took a lot of time to lock the holes. Later, Cao Ting, Wan Sheng and Yan Mo were really busy. Yuan Zhan also made Shan take a few pieces of animal skin and asked He Tu and Yuan Lai slave to help. That's it, busy until dark. All of them have only made 5 such backpacks. So a full set of animal skins can be supplied to Bing and Missing Teeth, but the backpacks are not available to them. Yuan Lai let out a whistle. Everyone was close to the river bank, and Yan Mo counted the number of people again. In addition to the 7 warriors, there are 5 slaves including him, a total of 12, 10 men and 2 women. 1 warriors are Lai, Bing, Zhan, Shan, Diao, Meng, missing teeth, and slaves are Yan Mo, Cao Ting, Wen Shang, Xiafei and Yang Wei. Cao Ting and Wen Shang he knows them. The thick woman named Xiafei is Lai female slave, and she is about the same age as Cao Ting. Bing slave is called Yang Wei. He looked like a man in his 20s. He looked a bit timid. There are no slaves from Meng and missing teeth. Until a few days later, Yan Mo knew that the 2 brothers Lai and De Meng used the same slave in all senses, and fortunately, Xiafei was foreland and strong. Missing teeth said that he can support himself and he was stubborn. Naturally, it is impossible for him to keep a slave. Yan Mo also found that the slavery here is also very confusing concept. According to the description from Yuan Zhan, it can be seen that if the master can't overpower his slave in all sense, then it is better not to have slaves, because if you are the master you can only suppress your slaves and not letting him eat, you are likely to be killed by slaves. The slaves who didn't want to be enslaved would run away. Yan Mo later learned that Bing thought his slave Shen had run away. Yan Mo heard the screaming and raised his head. Everyone looked at him. Yuan Zhan stood beside him and supported his body. I don't need you to say all the points to find a new salt field, but if we go to the south, it was very likely that we will encounter great danger. You must give us the first hint. Dalai is serious, scolded him. Yan Mo quickly calculated in his heart, really want to go south? Maybe the east is not bad. No, still go south. If there is no problem with the hope of the old priest Chu Shi, he said that there is heavy snow in the north, indicating that the north here is colder than the south, so he should go south without at least worrying about going to the South Pole. But if the situation in the south is worse and more dangerous than here? Yan Mo. Dalai shouted and called him again. We have to find the sea. Yan Mo spoke. Sea equals high. He used Chinese pronunciation since there is no vocabulary about the sea in the boy's memory. Hearing the pronunciation of sea, Dalai felt a bit strange. Yan Mo nodded. The sea is a very large lake, much larger than the lakes and rivers. It is as white as the sky. The color of the water is deeper than the blue of the sky. The taste of the water is salty, bitter, and awkward. Is there salt in the sea? Is there salt near the sea? Yuan Zhan asked. Yan Mo replied, my priest once told me that the salt in the sea is not only inexhaustible, but also easy to obtain. At the same time, there are many foods in the sea, very many. Everyone's eyes widened. De Bing's face was unbelievable. Really? Is there such a place? Yan Mo continued to flicker. My priest said there is. Where? De Bing grabbed before everyone could wait. At the end of the mainland. Yan Mo habitually forced him to think that he would see it. When he was going to ask him where was at the end of the mainland, he first thought of something to shock the primitive people to make sure they were in the team. The status is not only a salt-seeking target, but then to learn more about the geographical situation in the vicinity, and then infer the direction of the future. When he thought that his voice had just fallen, Missing Teeth spoke in the wind, suddenly shouted, I have heard the end of the mainland, I heard people say it.